Welcome back, beautiful Joyce Seger. I'm your host to the I Am Changing podcast. I think we're now up to episode 45. And today I'm covering another new blog entitled More Than Just a Beat. And in this article, I'm talking about the power of sound for healing. So sound waves are therapeutic because they can penetrate anything solid and travel energetically long distances. Sound waves are like light, they just don't travel as far. And whilst sound is not a quick fix, what I like most about sound when I use it therapeutically in clinic or with groups is sound can reduce or shift stress in the present moment and soothe your parasympathetic nervous system back into rest and digest for life. So I often invite people, when they sort of look at me quizzically, I say to them, do you know what? When you are frustrated and you scream out, "Rah!" and you feel like all of a sudden you've had this huge shift of emotional energy, that's the power of your voice, your unique sound vibration. And there's an abundant amount of scientific research that highlights that sound is actually exceptional for reducing anxiety, for restoring calm into your nervous system. And so it's therefore great for improving your sleep, for concentration, for anxiety, but it's actually, I find it in my own personal world and therapeutically when I'm in clinic as a practitioner, it can be used for anything. So sound therapy isn't new, and it's been used innovatively throughout the centuries, throughout time. Sound can be used with specific therapeutic goals, and it can also greatly improve our health and wellness. So you think back towards the time of, ancient Egyptians, they would play sound to rev their warriors up into beta state to get them ready for war or conflict. Sound is used for reproduction, getting into the mood and getting funky with your partner. Sound is used for relaxing the king or queen. So sound is used for a whole bunch of different reasons. Sound, as you know, can be instrumental music, it can be singing, but it can also be using instruments like tuning forks and meditation bowls or sound baths and gongs and drums. And so, in principle, sound therapy utilizes sound waves that mimic the vibrational energy found in nature, such as ocean waves, such as the wind blowing through the leaves of a forest, and other organic sounds made by plants, animals, insects, the sounds made in nature. And so sound healing works by stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest wiring that we have in our body that's responsible for digestion, procreation, rest. And the sound waves influence the cranial nerves, but in particular the vagus nerve, that nerve, the cranial nerve that runs from the head down through the neck, past the stomach and into the gut, the enteric nervous system. And when this is activated, when the parasympathetic is activated, it slows down our breath rate and our heart rate. And the flow on effect of that is that we enter into almost a trance-like state of relaxation. And for me, I utilize sound over and over and over because it's one of the best ways to get my clients to relax in order to start the therapy of what we've come together to work on. And so I say to people, you can use your sound when you or you growl or you sing, but, sound can be used for a whole bunch of different things. And when you make sound and then add smile to that relaxed state and hold it long enough to laugh, say, make a smile, show your teeth, and you hold it until you're laughing, that's the signal that you know when your body's making serotonin. You become your own antidepressant. So when it comes to using sound for therapy in your world or a proactive healing use, my hot tip is to create a playlist. And there's a lot of psychological research to demonstrate that certain frequencies, rhythms, tones can elicit emotional reactions. And let me explain. Think about when you're a kid getting yelled at by one of your parents and they had that voice and you push and push and push and they say, no, no. And then all of a sudden mum starts screaming, no. And you laugh now, but back then you probably crapped your pants because you knew it was life and death. So that sound can elicit memories in you. And the research that I've done, a study published in the journal entitled Emotion found that low frequency sounds might be more likely to induce sadness. So I often think about Bridget Jones when she feels like she's gotten too fat and she plays the really sad music, eating biscuits and binge eating and drinking. While high frequency sounds can invoke happiness and excitement. So think about, I'm of a vintage. I'm not even going to call it an age of music. And it doesn't matter how often I play it now in my 50s. It still makes me laugh listening to something like MC Hammer or some of the music from that genre, because when you pitch it, so there's a landmark study in the Journal of Psychology of Music that demonstrated that music can evoke emotions from sadness to joy, fear, and disgust. And the brain processes the musical elements like the melody, the tempo, the rhythm to invoke emotional states. So think about next time you're watching a movie or a docu-series, pay attention to the sound that they have in the background to build drama or create suspense or bring about tears and emotion. This is the power of sound. And so whether you play, this is the warning that I have for people: when you play a single track over and over and over, and you're experiencing a particular emotion. So again, we cue Bridget Jones, loathing all over herself, binging on the biscuits and glasses of wine. What actually happens is your brain can create a muscle memory to re-invoke that emotion upon playing the sound. So my hot tip when I'm working with clients and in groups, I always provide a playlist so that there's choice, and it's essential to have a variety of tracks that can shift you in and out of emotion, whether it's good or bad, so that you're not creating negative emotional associations with sound. When working with clients, I'm only ever playing soundtracks that have very specific healing frequencies. And there's a playlist of them. So there's a whole range of different things so that the person's subconscious can't create an association, so that every time they shift emotionally, they're hearing a particular sound. And more often than not, I don't play sound with lyrics. It's music only, because lyrics can be distracting when we're trying to heal. So if you're wondering what frequencies could support you to create change in your life, I've got a list for you. And the list on the blog has hyperlinks to the various frequencies that deal with different emotions. So I recommend, when you're listening to particular sounds with a specific reference for healing, listen to a solfeggio sound. And it's geared to target specific frequencies within the mind and the body and the energy field. So I highly recommend jump onto Spotify or YouTube, because they're free, even in the free versions. Search up Solfeggio Frequency plus the issue, and keep it very short and condensed. So Solfeggio Frequency plus anxiety or plus guilt, or if you're spring cleaning, plus space clearing, studying for an exam, Solfeggio Frequency plus study and concentration, wanting to manifest, Solfeggio Frequency plus abundance. You're getting the idea. And so here's a list, and it's by no means exhaustive, but it's giving you the idea that sound isn't just something that's pleasant to listen to. It can have a very specific healing property. Make sure you play the list. So Solfeggio Frequency 528 hertz, that's the frequency, is useful for influencing your prana, your chi, your life force energy to transform. So when you're in the weeds of garbage thoughts and feelings, 528 is really beautiful for creating miracles and DNA repair. It's also a frequency that helps increase life energy, clarity of the mind, awareness. It helps you to awaken and activate your creativity, but it also gives you a deep sense of inner peace, imagination, intention, intuition, and again, it helps repair the DNA. Solfeggio Frequency 825 is useful for supporting the listener to return to their spiritual order. So, helping you see through life's illusions, opening up your spirit self, and listening to these sorts of sounds, especially if you're doing morning or evening meditation at a cellular level, you can begin to transform into that higher frequency operational system. Solfeggio Frequency 396 can be useful for creating harmony and that sense of oneness and unity with self and the space around you, but it can also help you liberate guilt and fear. It can support you to shift from grief to joy. So it might be really helpful if you're preparing for a funeral or a negative meeting at work, play some 396 before you attend that, just to soothe everything. It helps to clear hidden blockages that you just know you're feeling stuck but can't quite pinpoint what the issue is. Get your journal out, play 396, because it helps shift out subconscious negative beliefs so that you can achieve your goals. 174 is often used in clinic, and it's useful for the listener to reconnect to their light self, their higher voice, their higher self, and create unification with spirit. It helps to reduce energetic and physical pain and create energetic stability. So if you know you've got a lot going on and you just have to power through, play 174 to just helps keep you on an even keel. 639 Solfeggio Frequency 369 hertz is beautiful for restoring the frequency of connection. Communication can support reconnection and within relationships, can reharmonize that sense of community. So if you've got something going on within the home, kids are all a bit feral, it's getting towards end of term or end of the day, whack on some 639, just helps with communication at that cellular level. And it just paves the way for a bit more understanding and love. Solfeggio Frequency 741 hertz is useful for awakening intuition, but it's also great for problem solving and finding solutions, clearing out toxins, shifting our energetic field of electromagnetic radiation from a cellular level, as well as stepping into self-expression. Solfeggio Frequency 417 is useful for undoing situations and facilitating change. It's very powerful. It can cleanse traumatic experiences and destructive influences of past traumas, past events. It can be great for optimizing cellular function and helping you step forward and change your life. So you might find when you're spring cleaning, and you're wanting to avoid it, it gets just too hard looking at all the mess and the clutter and the chaos. Play a little bit of 417, have a bit of sage or incense burning, open up all the doors and windows, do one shelf or one little bit, step back and allow some assimilation in your physical vessel. And then you might find that the spring cleaning becomes a little easier and you get a little bit of momentum going. So, to wrap up today's session, no matter what your circumstance in life, if you need to quickly restore calm in your life and not whilst driving, I really don't recommend Solfeggio Frequencies whilst driving because of its capacity to put you into a trance, and you kind of need your wits about you when you're driving. When we're using sound waves to change our inner world, they're more, sound is more than just a beat. And so to wrap up today's episode, let me give you a huge shout out for your support. I'm really so grateful. Thanks in advance for liking, perhaps sharing this podcast episode within your own change tribe. I hope it generates a fire of loving and proactive discussion of how you can take charge of sound with your journey steps through life, regardless of the challenges that experience brings you. There are daily inspirational posts on my Instagram and Facebook pages, and simply search for me in the links in the show notes below. To grow my podcast audience, it helps me immensely if you can hit the follow button. It helps with the algorithm reach on Spotify and YouTube, and I'm just so grateful in advance. I'm your podcast host, Kaz Humphreys, aka The Change Chick, and the mantra of I Am Changing is a reminder that we all really can choose to change and bloom from within.